They claim that we are forging signatures. Maybe you remember some of the accusations.
Worship and the body politic should not participate in partisan politics.
Wakateka na wakwata Egypto, its preoccupation now is to give a good service to the people of Zambia.
For us, we only ride on the facts.
We respect the decision of the party. Whoever they are going to choose, but signal and numbers can go short. Thanks.
You were once members of the party. Yes. But it's easier for you to come back.
Aya marali enango vaota vantu kukwera kusogolo, but UPP is trying to show a difference.
The issue will never rest until we see justice served.
Unapotwaikala mwa Julius, unokusekelela unyemba wati wachula sana. Ama voting yaisa ba MP kama bakunjura tukotele nikoteleni. Ifatu kakunja ifro. Tuleba botela tolale tafa declare kinaba wina. Batu kutatila.
It's a motion that attempts to destabilize the governance of this country, if at all, by whatever misfortune it succeeded.
They claim that we are forging signatures. Maybe you remember some of the accusations.
Worship and the body politic should not participate in partisan politics.
Wakateka na wakwata Egypto, its preoccupation now is to give a good service to the people of Zambia.
For us, we only ride on the facts.
We respect the decision of the party. Whoever they are going to choose, but signal and numbers can go short. Thanks.
You were once members of the party.
Yes.
But it's easier for you to come back.
Aya marali enango vaota.
Comes to you from 18 to 19. Everyone is the right on Evolution TV, and if you are watching us on the 3 platform, welcome. If you are watching us from Go TV, that is channel 96, on Movie TV channel 43, as well as on Top Star channel 458. You can also follow us on Facebook, Evolution TV Zambia, as well as on YouTube, same name, Evolution TV Zambia. And we get to follow us on a number of issues that we post on those 2 platforms on social networks. And like I said earlier on, this program is a news and current affairs program where we get to analyze and discuss issues pertaining to society and also issues that are affecting the nation as well. And this evening our discussion will focus more on the 5 key issues that have been of key concern in the last 2 days from Monday. And today we'll look at 5 key things. Like I said, the first one, we're going to look at the tariff on internet phone calls, which are cabinet approved in the last sitting. That was on Monday. We're also going to look at the Food Reserve Agency Amendment Bill of 2018, and also the Cyber Security and Cyber Crime Bill of 2018. We're also going to look at the issue of the risk training exercise of the street vendors who are protesting at the Civic Center following numerous concerns which they raised in the process, which we're going to look at in the next few minutes. And also discuss one key issue which is of great concern also, which is the recent findings that the 10-year odds are among the 723 people in Chanama Hills Hospital, the addiction ward, who are treated for alcohol and drug-related cases in the last 9 months. And so these are the issues that we are going to look at this evening, even as you tune in right now on GoTV channel 96, Top Star 458, Movie TV 43, and also you can also follow Liberation TV on Facebook, that is Liberation TV Zambia, as well as on YouTube. I am your host, Kayombo, and in case you want to send your SMSs, you can send them to 0978 43 74 37, 0978 43 74 37, and you get to contribute to what will be highlighted right here on this program. And so I just need to go through, in case you missed the events that have been happening of late. I'll just do a recap of the issues that have raised, the 5 issues that will be under discussion this evening. The first issue is to the tariff on internet phone calls, which has raised a lot of issues and concerns among the people in this country. And so before I introduce my guest, I'll just run you through the first part, which is the tariff on internet phone calls, which has raised a lot of issues on both Facebook, radio and TV. And at the 12th cabinet meeting, which was held on Monday, the 13th of August 2018 at State House, and chaired by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, the PF government announced 3 key issues which I think will be tabled and will be considered before Parliament. The first issue was the tariff on internet phone calls, and government said they have noted an increase in the use of internet phone calls at the expense of traditional phone calls. This development threatened the telecommunications industry and jobs in companies such as Zamtel, Airtel and MTN. Government also introduced a 13-way day tariff on internet phone calls, and also government has since approved the issuance of a SI that will facilitate the introduction of a tariff to be charged through mobile phone operators and internet providers. And according to the statement which was released by Honorable Dora Sia, who is the Minister of Information and Broadcasting, she said the research shows that 80% of the citizens are using WhatsApp, Skype and Viber to make phone calls. And just yesterday she held a press briefing at the government complex where she said that government and also the telecom companies are losing about $22 million annually through people using internet to make phone calls. And she said this trend or this issue is just enriching the Facebook and WhatsApp giants at the expense of the government and also the telecom industry in Zambia, which is, she said, the telecom companies are paying tax to government, and there is no way they can be losing such amount of money through internet and internet phone calls. And to help me and discuss this issue is Francis Kope, who is the LPPZ spokesperson, and they have expressed key interest in this matter. So I had to bring them on board so that they can help and understand what they feel about this whole issue of introducing a 13-way tariff on internet phone calls. Mr. Kope, nice to have you again on this program.
Thank you very much. I'm humbled. It's good to be here.
Okay. I think I've done a lengthy of introduction on the topics, and we're looking at 5 key issues today, I think, and I hope that we are going to exhaust all of them in the next hour that we have. The issue of the internet phone calls, which is of great concern, and there's the moods are high on Facebook, radio and TV. The issue of the Food Reserve Amendment Bill of 2018, as well as the Cyber Security and Cyber Crime Bill of 2018. There are also other 2 issues which I think the mayor was addressing the vendors at the Civic Center who are protesting regarding the issue, the way those people who are tasked to allocate stands to them are conducting themselves. And so I think we're going to look at that also And the recent, finding at Chanama Hills Hospital, where they're saying that 723 people in Chanama Hills, those are the 10-year-olds are among those figures who are being, treated for alcohol and drug-related, cases. So to keep the ball rolling, I think PPZ has done lengthy on this issue of the tariff on internet phone calls. Maybe what's your position regarding this pronouncement by the government on Monday during its sitting at the State House in the cabinet meeting?
Okay, thank you very much once again. It's good to be here. I think this is an issue that has brought a lot of uproar from a number of stakeholders and everyone that is concerned. They are kind of worried that at the rate we are moving as a country, and talking of more tariffs coming on board, more costs to the people. I think that is some of these issues are unjustifiable, but maybe we quickly need to look at a few patterns. We have had a situation where the PF came into government, and there were a number of promises before we even touch on internet and things, because there were a number of promises, and then we also had infrastructure development, and this infrastructure development was not systematically planned in terms of scheduling it according to where we need the most this particular development. Then we also had targets being introduced, so people started paying toll fees, and we saw some other measures such as the increase of the tax on airtime just recently, that in this particular budget. So we had increased tariffs in terms of the percentage in which we pay as VAT and things. So and then we also had issues to do with borehole. You need to pay something as you do your boreholes. So toll gates, boreholes, airtime tax, and all this. So we have had a situation where the PF have been trying a number of things, introducing a number of charges and more taxes, and then taxes, different types of taxes, and upon trying all these taxes, it seems they are just trying to see where else, and they're looking for everywhere to tax the people. So it is clear that our colleagues are in the business of taxing citizens, and maybe tax is not a bad thing at the end of the day, because government needs to run, but still, in as much as you are taxing, if you be taxing everywhere and you will not be satisfied with whatsoever you have. For instance, Churchill says a nation trying to tax itself into prosperity is like a man standing in a bucket and trying to lift himself by the handle. So we are seeing our colleagues trying by all means to increase the taxes. Talking of pay as you earn, just recently it was raised. So if you look at the budget of our colleagues, the national budget, it's all about new taxes that are coming through. TV levy, there was an increase in TV levy. Now you can't pay TV levy through Zesco or any. You have to pay decoder. Now you learn that, for example, I've got 3 decoders in my house, and I only have 1 TV set, meaning that I just change, because maybe what I can only watch at the Top Star is only Parliament at some point, and then the other channel I'm watching this and that and that. So, but I still have to pay TV levy for all the 3 decoders. You see, so. Our colleagues, they have mastered the art of milking money from citizens and making them even more poorer. And there's no productivity, no much activities that looks at productivity. It's all about tax. We received this issue of the charges on WhatsApp call. Now we must also hasten to see and understand what is this, how is it done. WhatsApp, obviously, it's an application. WhatsApp is just but one application on a phone among many applications that we may have. And then talking of application, there are several applications that have come on board with different incentives and all those things. And if you see the development of WhatsApp, we started with messages, and then it went into voice calls, and then it went into video calls. So there is a progressive development of this particular software and new introduction, new updates to this particular application. And then it shows that the people who discovered this, who invented this, they are not seated akimbo to wait for the returns. They are doing something in promoting this particular application. Now you also learn that when there is a new app, there are a number of apps, there are thousands and thousands of apps that have on Play Store, and some of these apps are not used, maybe because of the way they are being promoted or marketed, and all those things. So and how user friendly this. So whenever you have anything new, a new product, talk of Zamtel when it was rebranding, it was talking about Zamtel Mahala, Mahala Night Call, free calling, and all those things. So it was in the phase of promotion. And then whatever you do when you are in the phase of promotion, you would want to give in something, bend a little bit, so that at least you can attract more. So since it's a competition of thousands upon thousands of apps, we have seen something standing out. It's Facebook that stood out, and WhatsApp stood out, and the other bought the other. And then we also saw, we have standard apps like Twitter, which is for a particular class, and then we also have LinkedIn, which is also for a particular class. Twitter and LinkedIn, obviously, it's for a particular class, and these have their own advantages and things like that, and their own audience. Now, I want to quickly hasten to say that WhatsApp has not, hit a full-fledged kind of operation in terms of in Zambia on the market share, in as much as there are a number of people who are on WhatsApp. And if you look at if you look at statistics, ask one or two people and find out how they interact in terms of calling and what. You learn that most people use just voice calls and things, and so there's that projection that perhaps there are a lot of people that are using WhatsApp. Now, WhatsApp, it's a good application. It has proved to be a good application, and it is still in the promotional phase. And you know that when something is being promoted, it is cheaper. Zamtel, we had Mahala, and we had all these free minutes from our colleagues, the Airtel and what, and Talk Forever, and all those things. So there are all these promotions that are coming up, especially when there is competition, because when there is competition, there is some kind of motivation or innovation, in fact, among key stakeholders, especially those that are are complacent and they want to see, they think that they have the market share and things like that. So you learn that all the tariffs, most tariffs of, it's not just about phone tariffs. I don't know how much you spend, but you learn that some time back, if you haven't converted some minutes, you waste your money. But everyone is into minutes and all those things, and now it's easy to at least get a bundle for minutes and SMSs and things like that. And so what I'm trying to say is that all the tariffs at the moment are going down. Most of the tariffs, apart from a few tariffs, that is ZESCO and water. The rest, they're going down. Whatever you think of, at least because of competition, and because there's no competition with ZESCO, I think the tariff will continue to go up, and we also have bad services and all those things. Now, coming back to the internet issues, an announcement made. Now, one thing that we need to think about is that we are in the ICT kind of age. It's an IT age. So everyone is going into IT, and then everyone wants to be involved in information and communication technology. So and then we have a situation where our colleagues in government, say President Lungu, does he have anybody who is advising him, or a special advisor on ICT? Because this is a thing. This is what is happening. This is what is trending. And any business that is making billions is somehow connected, is connected to ICT. And new jobs that are coming up, they're connected to ICT. You see? So colleagues can talk about figures, $22 million. And $22 million, it's not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money. But it is a lot of money, indirectly. Now, but talking of a government looking at this, it's just, Now, quick one could be, if Dollar Syria and the 40 ministers know that we are losing $22 million, how many jobs have we lost? Did they give us the statistics of how many jobs are being lost? They can't. They don't know. They are assuming. You see, they are building castles in the air. You see, because they do not mean what they say. So tell me figures. Complete the figures. You see, you can't just talk about figures and then here you just talk about words. There are no numbers. There are no statistics. So I can give them statistics. The PF government promised 1 million jobs. The PF government promised 500,000 jobs. And when they promised these particular jobs, they had a lot of things put into consideration, because you don't just make a pronouncement. You can't just make a pronouncement as a government, because you have research, you have think tanks, you have there's the project and implementation and all those things, special advisor for this and that and all those things. You see? So now, if you say that you're going to create 1 million jobs, then you are doing a projection, you have done a forecast, and you are working towards achieving that. Along the way, you tell us about the jobs that are being lost or being threatened. I think the role of PF at the moment is not to tell us how many hundreds of jobs are being threatened, but to tell us how many jobs they have created and how many jobs they are creating more. Because if, for example, 100 jobs appear to be at stake, I can tell you the truth that at the call center, you don't find 100 people or 1,000 people at the call center. No, it's just a minimum of 20. So if it's the jobs that are being threatened, it's 20. Go to in fact Airtel, Zamtel, and all these guys. They don't have, is it Airtel? They don't employ people or employees to work at a call center. They subcontract, and these people, do you know how much they get? They get 1,000 kwacha. They get about 1,200 kwacha, and these are the salaries for these people who work at the call centers. And if at all they're lucky, it's 1,700 kwacha. You see, so these are the jobs that our colleagues in government are fearing that these jobs are going to be lost. It doesn't make sense. You promised me 1 million jobs. You haven't delivered not even a quarter. You are worried about 0.001. You see, so of course we might want to worry about the 0.001 because it is important, and these are people having families. But what we are saying is that if you are able to create 15% of what you promised, or just the 10% of what you promised, then this small loss will be overshadowed by what you create.
Okay.
So your business is not to worry about 2 jobs that are being lost, and then you don't want to create more jobs. You want to now start making money to prevent job loss, because this money is not going to the service providers. At the end of the day, it will definitely there will be some taxes and all those things. So you want to take advantage of the situation and start making some money out of it. I think the government has a bigger task, and the task is to create as much jobs as possible to at least create a quarter of what was promised. Then we're not going to be worried about 0.001%.
Okay.
So now I might also want to emphasize that there is need to allow competition. If WhatsApp and all these others, they are new, they can manage or afford to make it cheaper. Because we had a time when Zamtel and all these other colleagues were doing it cheaper, very, very cheap. You buy airtime for one kwacha coin, and then you talk, is it the whole night and all those things. So it's the same principle. It's basically the same principle. And if you can't see the market from that perspective, and you want to bar the market from expanding, then we need the president to appoint somebody who will be his special assistant for ICT, because he doesn't have that person. He needs to be updated on some of these things, because this is an embarrassment where 40 ministers sit, cabinet ministers sit, being chaired, and then they make a decision that is detrimental to the development of ICT, and they want to attack ICT. You don't attack ICT, because through ICT you can create millions of jobs.
Okay. Now, in the same vein, the same meeting, they also approved to take the Cyber Security and Cyber Crime Bill of 2018 to Parliament, and main stakeholders, including the media, are scared that the space of operation will be shrinked. And this bill, they are saying that it will promote an increased cyber security posture, facilitate intelligence gathering, investigation, promotion, and judicial processes in respect of preventing and addressing cyber crimes, cyber terrorism, cyber warfare against the sovereignty of the Republic of Zambia. And also they're saying that this bill will also authorize the taking of measures to ensure cyber security in Zambia, facilitate the establishment of the Zambia National Cyber Security Agency that will serve as the highest coordination center for all matters related to cyber security at national and international level. Now, we're looking at the issue of introducing tariff on social networks like WhatsApp, Facebook, Viber, and other that people make, even Skype, that people use to make phone calls. And now they're also in the same meeting suggesting that a cyber security and cyber crime bill of 2018 be taken to Parliament. Will that in any way affect the freedom that we have in terms of disseminating information and sharing certain information on WhatsApp, Facebook, and other platforms which are available for us citizens to use to communicate effectively?
The first thing that you need to remember is that at the moment, political parties and other people are not allowed to gather without notifying. In fact, instead of notifying, they need a payment. Yeah, because it definitely works like a payment because of the Public Order Act. So when you take a few steps and just try to observe and look what is happening, you discover that our colleagues, PF government, one, doesn't want people to gather because of the Public Order Act, and so you cannot gather, you cannot communicate. There are forms of communication and there are stages of communication, and until it reaches a place of mass media. Now, so if we have restrictions in terms of exercising our freedom, to interact, to gather and talk and express what our feelings, even to protest. You see, you see that even when you're doing a peaceful demonstration, peaceful protest, or peaceful march, our colleagues will send police to bring confusion to a peaceful meeting, a peaceful gathering. We have had a situation where people were gathered in a church and they were attacked. They were not fighting anybody. They were not, doing anything wrong. They were gathered in a church. They had a meeting in a church, of course, and then they were attacked, and others were beaten. They were tear gassed. So what we see here is some danger toward certain freedoms, freedom of expression, freedom, of where you need to interact and talk to people and things like that. So that is the danger that we are having, and this is where it is all coming from. Even when you talk about regulating, putting a tariff on WhatsApp calls and Skype and all those things, it is getting into the freedoms. Now, coming from the media background, I think the freedom of expression is very, very important. We need to express ourselves, and we need to air out our views, and we can express ourselves in different ways. And if there is a platform where we can talk, where we can have groups, as there was that issue of dealing with, charging the group admins of us, WhatsApp and all those things. So what our colleagues want is to curtail every freedom as much as possible. So now we are dealing with a group of people who are bent at targeting the constitutional rights that somebody has. They don't care about what the Constitution says. They care about what an act says. Public Order Act and all those things. So now coming down to the technology has made it easy for people to express themselves. The PF was talking about Facebook, people insulting on Facebook. Why are these? We had a case where somebody was taken to court because of some of the things that he posted on Facebook. Now, to me, I said this is a Facebook war. Is my personal war, and I don't want you to read everything that is on my personal wall, and you'll be shocked that somebody who will take you to court is somebody who is not even your friend. so he's not your friend on Facebook, you see, and he reads this. He's not my friend, and I put it on my wall, and you read it, and you want to take me to court because of what I posted on my wall. So the level of understanding, among our colleagues is so, you can't even fathom it. But you learn that they will discourage people to be on Facebook. They were talking about social media. They are so against social media because social media, being socializing, interacting and expressing yourself. So it's all about curtailing, socializing, expressing yourself, and all those things, freedoms. So they are, the bigger picture is, curtailing your freedom. So the issue of cyber law and all those things, the act, it's something that is important. We need to regulate these issues of, we need to have a cyber law that will look into issues of cyber crimes and other issues. But we also need to have, limits on what we need to regulate, because you can't get into my conversation. You can't get into my feelings when I'm expressing. Facebook would always tell you what's on your mind.
So you express what you think.
Yes, you're just expressing what you think. What's on your mind? What's on my mind? I think this and that and that. So what is wrong with expressing what's on my mind? You see? So we have people who are bent at making sure that people do not have the freedom to express themselves. Hence, all these issues. So where it is coming from, it is coming from the archaic law of the colonial master, the Public Order Act, which is now superseding the freedom of expression, the right to gather and all those things, to meet and to interact with people, which is in the Constitution of Zambia, which is the Bill of Rights. Bill of Rights. And you know that the Bill of Rights is something that is supposed to be untouchable. Okay. But we have a government that has exalted a lesser law to a supreme law, and hence all these issues. Where it is going, we are going to a place where we will not be expressing ourselves. We are going to a place where even it will start from there. It will go into churches. Remember, there was the issue of you can't be a pastor if you don't have this. You cannot this. So all these laws that are coming now, it is to see how power can be taken away from the people and concentrated among a few people. The Constitution says we, the people of Zambia, give ourselves. So now it is we, the PF, gives ourselves these rules that these people of Zambia should obey. We don't want to have a lesser law infringing on the rights of the people.
Okay. You're still watching The Society, which is a program which comes to you every Wednesday from 18 to 19, and featuring UPPZ national spokesperson Francis Kope, and we're looking at the key issues which were pronounced on Monday by means of Information and Broadcasting Services, also the government chief government spokesperson Doracia. Among them, the introduction of a 13-way tariff on internet phone calls, as well as the cyber security and cyber crime bill of 2018, which will soon be tabled before Parliament for consideration. And to take part, you can send your SMSs to a number on your screen, which is 1978 43 74 37. And there's Destiny Yenga from Kitwe, who's saying that this is the clear indication which shows that government doesn't have money, because when we buy airtime, there's a VAT tax. So what's the point of being double taxed? Is this the lower tax that we're talking about? This is more or less like doing something without a proper plan. This is Destiny Yenga from Kitwe. So also you can let us know what you are feeling about the topic at hand by sending an SMSs to a number on your screen, which is 1978 43 74 37. And if you are watching from God TV channel 96, top star 458, as well as Movie TV channel 43. Welcome to The Society. Now, Mr. Kope, away from the bills and the tariffs, there is the issue of the vendors who are protesting at Civic Center just after the new mayor was inaugurated, concerning the issue of the allocation of stands along the ring road, which is also called the Tokyo Market. We have made some stands, and vendors were supposed to be given stands, those that were trading from Kamala and those that were trading from the town center. Now, there were some concerns that those people who are tasked to allocate those stands, we are demanding for 3,000 kwacha from each vendor to be given, should be less than a meter space to trade from. Then also they're also saying that some of the people that have been given stands are bus drivers, relatives to those officials, and most of them were not part of those that were affected by the displacement following the cholera outbreak in Lusaka and some parts of the country. And now the mayor did issue a directive to say there need to be a re-screening exercise, so that only those that were affected by the cholera outbreak in Kamala and parts of town the CBD are given stands to trade in those places at the Tokyo Ring Road Market. So what's your comment or your feeling? Will this screening still change the status quo of corruption in the process, and a vendor being asked to pay 3,000 kwacha to be given a space less than a seat you are sitting on, Mr. Kope? So what's your comment on that?
The people of Zambia are suffering. People are suffering. at the hands of our colleagues in government. We have a situation where if government is not going to eat from you through all these taxes everywhere, the cadre is going to make sure that he milks from you. And it's a pity that our colleagues indeed thriving at an expense of Zambians' sweat, where Zambians are crying, and to them it is Christmas. It's just business as usual, and they'll make sure that they will milk as much money as possible. I can tell you that even after this screening and what, it will just escalate corruption. We know which people were affected. We know how many were affected, and the lists are still there. But the only challenge is that they will not use the lists which are there. They would want a new registration, and then they would want people to go and present their details, so that they can leave room for some corruption activities and the likes. I don't see no reason why we should even have a process where, for you to be given a stand, you need to pay this and that, because we know that these people are crying. These people have been crying. It's like going to somebody at a funeral house, and you're demanding even for more from that person after they have lost their beloved, their loved ones. So we have a situation where our colleagues, our leaders are heartless, and they don't care. They can't look at your tears. They'll look at you, and to them it's normal as long as they've got money in their pocket. So it is no longer more money in people's pocket. It is just more money in their pocket. No money in your pocket, more money in our pocket, which is very disheartening. The women and the street vendors who lost business, who lost a number of goods because of that particular exercise, and they lost their livelihood after being chased from the roads. Of course, the roads now are done, and they're looking good, but these are roads that now people are praising that now Panga Road and all those things, but from those roads we have been chased out of so that, because these are clean roads now, these are good roads, we need vehicles to be passing through, not you street vendors and things. Sometimes a good thing, sometimes we need to think through. So these are some of the decisions that were made in a haste, and we didn't think of what about our mothers and the old women who are trading in the streets. Now you see them walking to civic center every day and coming back and what, and there's a new mayor in town, and the new mayor has dissolved some committees, has done this, will screen and what. But we know that it's like selling a goat, but you're still holding on to the rope. What is happening is that one, we can just analyze the mayor, what he said and what is happening. So the mayor says that he's going to provide free internet, free Wi-Fi, and then the cabinet minister with the president says that you need to pay for what you have been using, because we've been paying bundles. Of course, we've been buying bundles and all those things, because it's talk time that you use, it's airtime. And now, so they come and say, no. So you have free Wi-Fi and you need to pay. So why can't we just have what we had, so that you don't promise anything, and then we continue with the status quo than promising something very much good, and then doing the exact opposite, like you're turning 100 degrees away from what you had, is it 360 from what you had promised. So today they'll promise, you'll promise, we'll screen and we'll look into it. Then the next day you will just find people selling there. That is how our friends operate. So we just find people selling, and you not even see where they how and where they got their their spaces from, and all those things. So it is a time for our colleagues to make money according to them. So they are looking at how many stands are these. So if there are 10,000 spaces or 1,000 spaces, if I charge 1,000 each or 3,000 each, that is 3 million kwacha, which is 3 billion odd currency. So they are okay. To them, they are okay. So they will just split it among a few. They have their own fire tenders in their houses, and they are good. They can build their mansions and things. But this is the sweat of a poor mother out there. Somebody who is struggling to take a child to school. Somebody who might have a child who is sick, but they won't pay for that sick child, because they're thinking, I need to have the stand so that I can sustain this very child who is sick. And then in the long run, we have the waste situation happening. This is a situation where people have a lot of responsibilities, but they're saying that, oh, what can I do? I really need to pay this money. But do you know why people are crying? It's not that because they are not on the list. It's because they gave out the money, those 3,000 kwacha, and the stands were not given to them. So that's why it has now come out. You see? So it is double at the end of the day. So they will get another money, because they'll tell them that whenever cheating after matenda, it's still the same. So bring the money. Now bring for handover. So now there will be another 3,000 for handover. So we'll be talking about somebody walking away with 6 million kwacha, and then something that can be taken to tariffs, and then we can have free internet if you thought of that. But our colleagues are only interested in putting the money in their pocket. They don't realize that stealing from 1,000 people, it is like stealing from 10,000, because these people have families, they have got dependents, they have got these are extended families, and all those things. They've got problems, they've got issues. So I don't see any changes with the so-called mayor. With his pronouncement, I just see it becoming worse. One day we'll just have people selling, and then others will just be crying.
So who should help these people? And also the manner that the council police are dealing with this thing, those that are trying to go and do their business in town, the manner that being mishandled and bundled into those vans and taken to the fast track court civic center, because according to the law which was passed, street vending is illegal, in some areas which were said you cannot trade in this, for example in the CBD. But now there's been a concern that the way the manner that the council police and the state police are treating these people, as they try to move them to go and trade from where they're saying they can trade from. So who should help these people, and how best should the council, they're also human beings, should treat these people who are trying to go out there and make a living out of selling on the streets?
Under the Patriotic Front, I can guarantee you there's no fair treatment that we can expect. It will be very difficult to expect anything good. Look at how things are just becoming worse. Everything is becoming worse. So I think it will be very, very difficult for us to expect anything good from our colleagues. The street vendors. The street vendors should just wait. If they want to be treated better, they should just wait a few months before the elections. Everyone will be in the street once again, and they'll be selling. But is that the life that we want to be leading? The only people that can change the situation, because this situation is going to be worse. Innocent mothers will be treated even worse than they are being treated if we continue the way we are doing, at the rate we are going. The colleagues, the PF, they do not have any kind of regard for the people. That's why they can only come to the people at the time when they need votes and all those things. You know that during the time when we had the mayoral elections, there was street vending. Street vendors all came into town, and then they were trading, and it became a bit normal. Immediately after that, them back, to business as usual. So you ask, whom should they, who should help them and all those things. No one can help them under the PF government, because even the president will say the other things and mean the other thing, most of the time. But we pray that he comes out and rescue the people. Though we cannot expect much from the PF government, what we need to do is a regime change.
Okay.
We need to have a new flock of leaders that will care for the people. We need to have people who are concerned about the people. Talk of immediately the street vendors were chased out of town. President Charles Chan, the PPZ president, called all of them and gave them something, gave them books, gave them this and that for their children and what. There was an empowerment of Saraula and all those businesses and the chicken run and all those things which President Charles Chanda did. So what we are seeing is a situation where it will be tough to see a solution under the current government.
Okay.
It's impossible.
Okay, I think a quick one, because we have a few minutes before we finish our program, about 8 minutes or so. The last one, maybe a quick comment on the findings, at the Chainama Hills Hospital, where about 723, these are the 10-year-olds among this figure of people that are in addiction ward and are being treated for alcohol and drug addiction in the last 9 months. Where are we going wrong as a country? We have 10-year-olds, okay, being treated for alcohol and drug-related cases.
I might not be kind on this one. I think beer and alcohol, to GDG, whiskey, Jameson has become a thing. So we have a situation where people get inspired, because I drink beer, and you'll be shocked that cabinet ministers, even ladies, women, they drink so much, and they have been given important portfolios, maybe fed in those important portfolios, but they just drink. I was looking at one of the tweets over this issue of tariffs, where the minister tweets something, we need the jobs and what. So this man was just frank on the minister. He just says, please, minister, don't tweet when you are drunk. You see, don't drink, don't tweet and drink. So we have a number of leaders that drink whiskey, and it's fashion. And we have people who have started drinking because they think that if a leader can become a leader of this particular thing and he drinks, then perhaps it's a good thing. You see, so they get inspired. So we are lacking leaders to inspire us. Okay. We are lacking leaders to be role models. This country has no role models. There are very few role models. You see, so there is that vacuum, there is that space where that gap where people cannot be inspired to do the right thing. Children cannot be inspired. Those days you can't see an advert of beer. I think in the MMD times they had to regulate the adverts of beer drinking and whatnot. So, but today you see whiskey, Shivers, Jameson, and all those things everywhere as billboards and what. So there's too much advertisement of beer. Hence, when you hear that children are drinking, it's because children look at people, they listen to conversation, they listen a lot. So when you say, Chite Amama Jameson, so they'll think that maybe Jameson is good. If this big person drinks Jameson, who am I not to? You see, a lot of people, I can assure you, let people text the people who are very genuine. A lot of people have now tasted Jameson because they heard that leaders, it's a drink for leaders. You see, they have not tested GDG. They have not tested all these things because there's these huge talks about this. So what is causing that is because we don't have a father figure who is inspiring the people to do the right thing. Hence, we have been saying in the UPPZ that there is this leadership vacuum, and this leadership vacuum can only be filled by the UPPZ president, Mr. Charles Chanda, who is also looking at raising young leaders. That means well, to Zambia as a country.
Okay. All right. Thank you for coming, Mr. Kope.
Thank you
very much. It was
very
a nice, an insightful interview. Thank you. And that to show for petu no, I think it according to your Mansa Bemba.
I'm humbled. I'm very humbled. I pray that I get inspiration, from a servant of God who has allowed me to be on this particular platform. I really want to thank Revelation and the vision bearer of Revelation TV, for giving us this wonderful opportunity. We need to be inspired by such people, because we need leaders that we can look up to and say, oh, I'm touched, I want to be like that leader. Revelation was the first TV station to go digital. An inspiration, you see. So we have visionary leaders. Where there's a vision, of course there's a way. Where there's vision, there's true leadership, and of course this country can transform.
Okay. That has been Mr. Francis Kope, the UPPZ national spokesperson, who was asked to help us understand the key issues, among them that was the telephone, internet phone calls, as well as the cyber security and cyber crime bills, which will soon be tabled before Parliament, as well as the issue of the risking of vendors that were protesting at Civic Center because they're being, shortchanged by people that were supposed, to help them acquire stands along the Tokyo Way market. This has been the Society with me, Kayombo. See you next week. God bless you, and continue watching Revelation TV.
aya marali enango vaota vantu kukwera kusogolo, but UPPZ is trying to show a difference.
The issue I'll never rest until we see justice served.
Munomotwaikala mwa Julius, munokusekelela munyemba wati twachula sana. Amavoti nga yaisa ba MP bafukama bakunkula tukozeleni ifa tukakusha ifro tuleba botela tolale kata declare tinaba wina bati sitatila.
It's a motion that attempts to destabilize the governance of this country, if at all, by whatever misfortune it succeeded.
Claimed that we had 40 signatures. Maybe you remember some of the accusations.
While chief and the body politic should not participate in partisan politics.
Pakateka n'abakwata Injito, its preoccupation now is to give a good service to the people of Zambia.
Kuzisa abana bange kuba nili pano so nila bana kunyumba huko so pano kweli kapo pano nikatulipia ndiraba.
For us, we only ride on the facts.
Respect the decision of the party, whoever they are going to choose, but seeking our numbers can go show.
You were once members of the party.
Yes.
Procedure for you to come back.
Ndiyopotera musogoleri wamene akeringa musogoleri wamenanganya pali future. Aya marali enango vaota vantu kukwera kusogolo, but UPPZ is trying to show a difference.
The issue I'll never rest until we see justice served.
Munomotwaikala mwa Julius, munokusekelela munyemba wati twachula sana. Amavoti nga yaisa ba MP bafukama bakunkula tukozeleni ifa tukakusha ifro tuleba botela tolale tafe declare tina bawina bakisitatila.
It's a motion that attempts to destabilize the governance of this country, if at all, by whatever misfortune it succeeded.